This time of the year marks the beginning of initiation season around the country. The previous winter initiation seasons have seen more young men die or injured, especially under the care of illegal schools. To date, much focus has been put on regulating and monitoring initiation schools, and a national task team has been put forward to try curb the deaths of participants. Well, joining us in studio this morning is Nkosi Mahlangu, who is the Deputy Chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders, who is also the leader of the National Task Team of Initiation. Lovely to have you. Thank you so much for being our guest here on the program.
Thank you, and morning, Leon.
And also joining us here on the program, we're very, very happy to have the minister that is, of course, in charge of anything to do with the municipal areas, and that, of course, is our minister who is in our parliamentary studios, and that's David van Rooyen. Minister, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you for having us. Good morning to Nkosi Mahlangu and also to the viewers of the Morning Live.
All right, let's begin. Minister, we'll talk to you in 1 sec. I'm going to begin with Nkosi here in studio, just to get an idea of what the National Task Team on Initiation is actually all about. What is it that you're doing?
I think our role as the National Initiation Task Team is to make sure that young boys that go through the initiation practice, go to initiation schools, alive and come back alive. I think that's the main crux of it, and also to make sure that the cultural aspect of initiation is being respected, and that the abuse and the illegal schools that we are seeing around the countries, that is kept, that we arrest those that are breaking the law and killing our young men. I think that's the main crux of what the National Initiation Task Team is supposed to do.
Okay. Minister, sorry about that. We had that's called live television at play here with our sound man coming to fix your mic while you were on. Apologies for that to our guest. But let's just bring the minister into the conversation here as well. Minister, you haven't really dealt with initiation issues, but seeing that these problems fall under your department, what measures or laws do you plan to put in place to curb the rising number of deaths when it comes to initiations?
Look, Leon, maybe I should start by indicating that as the government of the day, we are committed to ensure that initiation practices are conducted within an environment that protect lives and that discourage abuse of initiates. And as a result, to our protected process to realize that environment, we have been receiving submissions from various role players, including traditional leaders. And I must indicate that led to the development of initiation policy, which was approved by the cabinet last month. Now we are ready as government to legislate on this matter.
Now, in terms, coming back to you, Nkosi, giving advice to parents that are planning on taking their child to an initiation school, differentiate between a legal and an illegal school. What should they look out for?
I think mostly your legal schools would be schools that have been approved by a traditional council, especially in traditional areas. And those would make sure that there is proper pre-screening that is being done by doctors in advance. They would have registered traditional surgeons or medical doctors that would be doing the surgical part of the initiation. There is a specified period of initiation that parents on their own have set and decided in terms of who will be running those schools, or who will be the principals of those schools, and a traditional leader is given authorization to the person that would be running the initiation school. So that person would have a certificate that he gets from a traditional council. So normally illegal initiation schools, I think we've seen others that are now springing up in Mpumalanga. There is one where you'd find that there is no permission that comes from a traditional council, because if there is no permission, then there can't be proper monitoring in terms of making sure that people have been pre-screened, parents have given consent, because each and every child that is there should be forms that have been signed by parents, both parents that are giving consent to the child. There would also be forms that are signed by the school to make sure that they are giving permission for this child to undertake such a practice. So normally in illegal initiation schools, you don't find all that. There is no teaching that that happens in those schools. There's abuse of alcohol, so there's abuse of those children as well. So we are trying to curb those schools and make sure that we don't find them this year, because I think that those are the causes of deaths in most instances. Yes.
I mean, Minister, this is a big problem, and it is these illegal schools and the practices that are happening, and they practice these initiations on the boys illegally. What are the repercussions for these schools?
Look, by legislating, inter alia, we will be ensuring that any practice that is illegal, people will be prosecuted for that. But also, I must indicate, Lian, we are very, very worried as the government of the day. As you are aware, just last year, the two initiation season recorded 92 deaths. And of course, in the past 10 years, we have experienced not less than 1,000 penal amputation. So definitely, there will be repercussions, and that's why we are very, very, serious, and we are expediting the process of legislation.
Yeah, Minister, by when? I mean, when we talk about expediting, and I mean these are a lot of deaths we are talking about. When do you think that this is going to come into practice?
So, sorry, Lian, I didn't hear you clearly there.
In terms of the legislation, when do you think it's going to come into practice? Because, you know, we're talking of a high number of deaths and injuries that can be avoided.
Oh, Lian, the framework is very clear, and I must indicate that besides this national framework, provinces have introduced bills, and they do have a framework and protocols that they are following to guide, this practice. And this year, we are intensifying our approach to zero tolerance towards any abuse and the deaths of initiate. And we are working through the national task team under the capable leadership of Deputy Minister Bapela, and of course, and the capable leadership of our National House of Traditional Leaders, to ensure that there are structures in all levels of government and in all levels of traditional leadership institutions to deal with these practices. That's why even now, Nkosi Mahlangu is able to tell you of some of the practices that are not permissible in our province in Mpumalanga, and they are hands-on to deal with such things.
Yeah. Will this help, Nkosi? I mean, getting this framework in and having it in legislation, is this something that you think will assist?
I think it will help us a great deal, especially when it comes to the police, in terms of making sure that they arrest those that need to be arrested. Because in most people would be arrested and then they would be let off because there is no law that is there that says that they should be arrested. So now that we have a framework, we have a national policy. There are provinces like Mpumalanga that has adopted or enacted a legislation. You have the Eastern Cape that is also working on one. Limpopo is also working on one. The Western Cape also has developed a policy. So we have provinces that are making sure that the police do what they are supposed to be doing. Because if you look at the Eastern Cape, I mean, where you had almost 70 boys dying last year, the arrests there, they've been very minimal, because there is no law, and parents are also not assisting us as well, because they don't want to become witnesses, or they don't report a case, or they would report cases and withdraw them. So now we are making sure that we are working with the public, with the National Public Authority, NPA, to make sure that they prosecute those that need to be prosecuted. We don't allow parents to withdraw cases that they have reported. I think this legislation would assist us a great deal.
Well, that's what we want to hear, and that's the idea of fast-tracking. Minister, we really do thank you for your time and being with us this morning. Cooperative Government and Traditional Affairs Minister.
Thank you very much, Len, for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure in our parliamentary studio. And Nkosi Mahlangu, Deputy Chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders. Thank you for being with us here on the program.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I just wanted to say one last thing, that this would be a very cold year. So as much as we are launching the initiation season, but we're launching it with caution, that if parents can pull back and not take their children this year, because this will be the coldest season ever reported, and that might lead to the high number of deaths. Yeah,
it certainly will. So, I mean, that's an important thing, to take those precautions. I don't know if you get the opportunity very much, and I'm going to give you a minute. Is there anything you would like to ask the Minister for, or anything that you feel that the Minister needs to do for these traditional leaders and healers?
Look, I think with traditional leaders, with the Minister, we're working very close on a daily basis with the National Task Team. I think what we would request is that to push the Commissioner of Police to make sure that they arrest where they need to arrest, and that there are more resources to be able to do campaigns, because we need to do public awarenesses so that we warn parents of all these illegal initiation schools, and we also are able to publish the names of the schools that have been approved,
yes,
so that parents know exactly where to go.
I like
they
that
don't
idea.
just take their kids anywhere.
I think that's the best thing. Minister, I know you were listening. I could see you watching very tentatively there. And I know you guys are in touch very closely, but I think those are some of the ideas that need to be implemented.